Hi, I'm Andrew Hall, and I'm facilitating the course on business optimization, performance and improvement. Business optimization is really about maximising the returns from the business as a whole, and shouldn't be confused with component optimization, which only considers certain aspects of the business, often in isolation, without well-developed understanding of those impacts on the whole mining system. If done well, business optimization not only maximises value, but it also minimises risk, as the key drivers of value and risk are identified and incorporated into that process, so the best strategy for the mine's developed. I was originally drawn to engineering really because of the mix of different skills and experiences that it brings together. So I was always fairly strong at maths and science, and that was certainly a real passion of mine. So I started doing civil engineering at RMIT. At that stage, RMIT had geotechnical engineering, and we also did some geology subjects as well, with the geotechnical engineering facilitators. And that really interested me. So I did finish my degree, but I majored in soil and rock mechanics with the intent of getting into geotechnical engineering, which is what I did. I joined AMC Consultants way back in 1995. It was 1995 that I joined. Started as a geotechnical engineering, but over time I got exposure to open pit mine planning and underground mine planning, and for me, that was really where my interest sort of lied. So after that foundation in geotechnical engineering, I branched out to doing more mine planning in both metalliferous, open pit and underground. And that's where, how I got into the industry and why I'm here today. In terms of getting involved in business improvement, I went and did a Masters of Mineral Economics through Curtin University. And at that stage, AMC was doing some really exciting things around in the mine optimization space. So we just started doing some benchmarking services and into business improvement. And in parallel, Brian Hall had just started really developing his Hill of Value approach for strategy optimization. So I joined our mine optimization team, which was formed in the late 1990s, early 2000s. It was really there at the start when AMC started getting involved in our business improvement and transformation services. And really I've been involved ever since. The goal of mine optimization is really to develop the best strategy for the mine, and it's really that strategic aspect to it. So really you want to be throwing in all of the strategic elements into the mix. So mining methods, production rates, cut-off grades, processing rates, and looking at all of those potentially strategic options to determine which ones are going to create the most value, and also de-risk the mine over its life. So typically what we'd see in terms of outcomes from mine optimization is that most mines are operating in a suboptimal path, and typically we might see that there's tweaks to the mining methods, in particular cut-off grades, where there's that's one of the biggest value levers for any mining operation, which is often underexplored and often not well understood, right through to production rates and right-sizing the operation so that you're getting the right mix of cut-off grade, production rate and other strategic parameters that, as I said before, not only maximises NPV, but more importantly actually de-risks the operation so that you've still got strong margins no matter where you are in the commodity price cycle. I don't think there are other courses that touch on all of the elements that we do here. And remembering that it brings together a whole lot of disciplines. When we're talking about business optimization and improvement, there's a lot of stakeholders, in those, from the different technical disciplines that are involved in all the assets and facets of the mine, the commercial people and the corporate goals of the business in terms of understanding what you're trying to achieve to make sure that the strategy and improvement initiatives are actually aligned with the overall goals. But increasingly, you've also got a large number of business improvement people and also data scientists who are doing lots of analysis or analytics on big data, and the amount of available data for a mine site's just increased exponentially over the last decade or two. So really it needs to be bringing all of those people together. I'm not aware of a course that actually covers the full gambit, so covering all of those elements and is going to be relevant to all of those stakeholders. In terms of the factors, I think one of the key things for me is getting the key performance indicators right, and understanding that when you're looking at a mine in particular, there's a lot of uncertainty. The mineralisation's been formed by natural processes, and we never have a full understanding of exactly where all of the mineralisation sits, and the grade distributions and those sorts of things as well. And that understanding improves over time, but we never have a complete understanding. So getting those KPIs right and making sure that they cascade down from the measures that indicate the overall health and also competitiveness of the business is really, really important. And one of the most important KPIs, if not the most important, is compliance with the plan. And a lot of operations we see sort of go off the rails because they're not complying with the plan. They can be chasing short-term targets and get distracted by things that might look like they're an improvement. For example, taking some additional tons, but maybe out of sequence, which can have implications not only for what grades you might be mining later, but also for ground stability, and then also linking that back to potential for for safety and other things with people going into areas where we've deviated from what's the pre-agreed mining sequence that's going to give the greatest stability and overall enable or maximise ore recovery. Absolutely. I mean, any good mine plan should have contingency built into it, because in a mining operation, things are going to go wrong. As I touched on before, the amount of information we have is relatively scarce. The ground conditions that we're dealing with are a given, and we've got to manage them the best that we can. So from time to time, you may lose a stope. And if you don't have contingency to say, well, where is there another area that you could go into, you're going to lose production, and that's an opportunity cost that you can never recover. So contingency planning has to be a major part of any well-conceived mine plan.